Welcome back, high school athletes, to your ESPN network. I'm your host, Danny Proby.
And I'm Ari Nitikman. It is a jam-packed episode. We're having finals left and right and center. We're going to talk about power rankings. It's going to be amazing.
Amazing. First up, we're going to do a little bit of coverage of our regular season games. Now, some drama, and I don't mean actual drama, but I think this might shock some people, but in the Richmond district, Palmer has been knocked out by Richmond High in playoffs for their banner, I believe. So we have Palmer versus Richmond High. I believe Richmond High won that game by 1.
Wow.
And MACNEILL ended up beating Steveston London. And so it's going to be a MACNEILL-Richmond High final. Now, Ari, we had Palmer ranked very high in our power rankings. What do you think this says about either Palmer or Richmond High?
Well, obviously Richmond's resilient. To see Palmer always above them in the power rankings, to always see us just praising them for their Instagram, and for Richmond to just go out and beat them, like that just shows some moxie from Richmond High.
Absolutely. I mean, that game must have been very, very exciting to be on the sidelines. I wish we could have been there. So good luck to both those teams in the finals. So yesterday we had one of our reporters on field at the John Oliver Eric HAMBER game, and he did mention that the game was a little bit closer than he was expecting, or that Eric HAMBER maybe seemed a little vulnerable. Ari, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I see the cracks, forming on the evil empire. I feel like, in every movie, like Star Wars, the evil empire gets defeated. So those cracks are starting to form. People are starting to find, the middle of the Death Star, and who knows, maybe Jay will be the one to take them down.
Well, they lost yesterday, so they are not going to be playing
provincials.
Provincials, of course. This is just their city banner tournament. So right now we have also on the other side a little bit of intrigue is the Churchill Bulldogs ended up beating Point Grey. So Point Grey had moved up quite a bit in our power rankings based on their performance at the Valhalla tournament, which we'll talk about later. But since Churchill was able to beat them in semis, it's now Churchill and Eric HAMBER in the final. So we got word of that really last minute before we launched our power rankings, and good thing that we did hear about it, because that really boosted Churchill up quite a bit, as we'll talk about later.
More to the east side, we had Templeton versus Gladstone, and Templeton blew out Gladstone. Fortunately for one team, unfortunately for the other. Templeton's looking really good. They're peaking at the right time of the season. They've got some strong players, and they're looking good heading into the final tournaments.
In North Shore News, they have playoffs all day Friday. I believe it's kind of an all-day event. Most of the teams will be there, and they'll be playing a bunch of games, and so we look forward to seeing those scores rolling in. Now, in the Fraser North, where you and I both coach, there is a very, very interesting matchup happening this Friday. We have STMC versus Burnaby North. It's going to be a barn burner. We're super excited because both those teams have a commanding lead in the division. So I'm also excited by something that's happening in the Fraser North this Friday as well. So since the banner tournament there is just to the top 2 teams, if Burnaby Mountain, say, loses to Central and Mosscrop beats South on Friday, then there will be a 3-way tie for second, which would be fascinating. So a lot of last-minute drama happening in the Fraser North. I'm excited to see what happens. Good luck to everybody there in their regular season games.
Fascinating. Now over to the Fraser South, we have Guilford Park playing Queen Elizabeth.
Actually, Guilford Pork.
Playing Queen Elizabeth and Kwantlen Pork this week. And those are going to be some marquee matchups. Those are some really strong opponents for GP. They are still undefeated this season, but this is the big test coming up in this last week. If they do beat both of those teams, I think they're really going to solidify their spot in the top 4 in all of Metro Vancouver, BC, with those wins.
Now, the Valhalla Invite happened this past weekend, and it was an amazing display of 10 of the top 16 power rank teams all at one place. So it was an awesome opportunity for reporters on field to get a glimpse and see how these teams actually cross over and see how our power rankings really stood up.
For the final results of the Valhalla tournament, here are your top teams. We had Eric HAMBER, number 1, of course. Point Grey coming in 2nd, Sutherland in 3rd, Burnaby North in 4th, Churchill in 5th, Burnaby Mountain in 6th, Templeton in 7th, and Heritage Woods in 8th place.
So there were lots of fascinating games happening all weekend long, but another thing that Valhalla Invite did was they recorded the spirit scores. So we want to shout out the top 5 Spirit winners in the senior division. So congratulations to Burnaby Central for finishing #1 in Spirit on the senior side. And Ari, you've played against Central recently. Did you agree with this selection?
They're great. They're a great team. They're hype. Every time Brandon Suns guys, 8 people, they're super hype, but they're also hype, when the other team scores. So I love that for Burnaby Central, and well deserved.
Yeah, interesting to note that Brandon wasn't there, I believe, this weekend, or at least for part of the games, and he's definitely one of the more impactful players on their team, I would say. So the fact that their team was still able to come out on top of the Spirit is just a testament to their team culture. Now coming in at number 2, we have Semi Amu. They were actually tied for first, so kind of a two-way tie there. We have John Knox and HAMBER B and Burnaby North and Sutherland all tied for third in Spirit. So congratulations to all of those teams.
All right, over to the junior division of the Valhalla Invite. Top 8 teams, here we go. Eric Hamber, #1, so they won in both divisions. Congratulations. Templeton with the 2nd place finish, amazing. Stratford Hall in 3rd, Charles Tupper in 4th, Burnaby North in 5th, Point Grey in 6th, Sutherland in 7th, and Churchill in 8th place. Pretty interesting, although not surprising, that a lot of the same names were said both in the junior and senior division, just in different divisions, different places. Bless you.
Bless me. I'd like to shout out the junior Spirit winners, so congratulations to Semi Amu and Sutherland for tying for first for Spirit. We absolutely love to see it. Then we have Churchill and Point Grey tying for 3rd for Spirit. And then we have STMB, HAMBER B, Fleetwood, Regent Christian, Burnaby North all tying at 8 out of 10 for Spirit. So there were just so many amazing plays happening at the Valhalla Invite. Shout out to Nathan Klakovic for being there, snapping some epic photos of everything that was going on. We have some specific shout outs that we would like to say. So we want to do a special shout out for Sora Young from Point Grey for 4, apparently, shoulder high layouts. Just amazing.
Next, shouting out Hazel on Templeton Jr., catching a Universe Point Huck goal in the semis versus Stratford Hall. Talk about clutch.
Talk about clutch. I absolutely love this young junior Templeton team, especially their women matching players are just impressing me so much this season. Now, another shout out to Shannon from Burnaby North. There actually was a picture of a really sick layout on Nate's Instagram, so you go check that out. You know what? When tall people lay out, I find it just even more impressive. They have so much farther to fall. What do you think?
Just
as an average person?
Limbs hitting the ground. I'm pretty tall. I'm pretty massive, so I don't know. I would know a thing or two, but
okay.
Shout out again to Burnaby North. We got Lauren Zito Fung and Emma. I'm not sure about your last name. On North Junior, all of their offense is running through them, which is just amazing to see. They're just crushing other teams with their cuts and throws.
Now shout out to the Tupper senior team. So they were mostly their junior players, and then in order to make it through the tournament, they ended up picking up some of our Elevate Ducks players, and it was just really fun to kind of see a really young team, mostly grade 9 and 10s, do quite well in the senior division.
Moving over to Stratford Hall Juniors, it's the Miles, Kira, and Ryan show. We got some stats from the coach. Apparently Ryan got like 19 goals or like 27 goals, one of those numbers, or maybe in between, over the course of the weekend, which is just absolutely incredible.
Now, final shout out to Kaito with the Cows ice cream sponsorship. So, repping those Cows ice cream pajama pants, we got a follow from them. So, thank you, Kaito, for that sponsorship. We love it. So, again, congratulations to everyone on a really successful weekend. I want to do a little baby shout out to my little homies Moss Crop. So we ended up picking up 5 or more juniors players to play with our senior team, and we did quite well. We won the 2nd tier, so I'm very proud of you. Good job. Moving on to the power rankings, one thing that we really absolutely love is when teams can see the power rankings and they use it as fuel. They use that as motivation, and we definitely saw PG or Point Grey do that in the last couple of weeks. They saw their ranking and they're like, and they had such a strong tournament in Valhalla. So shout out to them and shout out to all the teams that like see those and use them as motivation. Congratulations. So now on to the power rankings. When we posted these yesterday, it was so exciting to see so much movement. So it's kind of a testament to how Juniors Ultimate usually goes. The momentum is crazy, the adrenaline is insane, and it's really exciting to see teams rise to the challenge. So just excited to go through it. Ari, do you want to start at number 16?
Well, let's start with Seacom. Obviously, still amazing that they're in the top 16. Nothing to shake your head at, but they did lose 7 spots. They lost 2 games to Quantland Park and Guildford Pork last week in gameplay, and that's why they've moved down in the rankings.
Now, HANDSWORTH moved down a few, placing in the tier 2 of Valhalla. They were in a difficult pool. They had Burnaby North and Templeton, but they moved down 3 spots. They're still in the power rankings.
Next, we have GLADSTONE at 14. They're looking good. They moved up 1 spot, and curious to see how they do in the coming weeks.
Now, Templeton ended up finishing 7th at Valhalla. Arguably, they could move up even more after their game versus GLADSTONE in the regular season, but they're holding on strong, moving up in the power rankings each time.
Next, we have BRITANNIA. This is a huge jump from out of the top 16 into number 12. They're currently undefeated in league play, which is amazing. They have wins over great teams, GLADSTONE and Templeton, and yeah, I'm curious to see the damage they do moving forwards.
Next we have John Oliver, who's moved up 3 spots after some strong league play, and the fact that they're in tier 1, they're just playing against the best teams all the time, so they're getting lots of high quality reps.
Next, we have MACNEILL in the 10th spot. They're in the finals of the Richmond division, which is amazing. Got some big wins in the league lately, so yeah, deserves spot at number 10.
Now we have STM falling 2 spots to no fault of their own at number 9. They just weren't playing at the Valhalla Invite, and we just need to see more from them.
Next is Mountain at number 8. They've dropped 3 spots. They suffered some tough losses this past weekend to Sutherland, Churchill, and Point Grey. Of course, they're great teams, but we've noticed that depth is an issue. They've got some great top-end talent, but do they have the full depth and roster to last a whole tournament and win those big games?
Now, these rankings would definitely switch after we got the information we did this week, but Palmer is holding on to the number 7 spot. Strong performances all season long. We expect to hear more from them this season, but right now they're sitting at 7th.
Next is Burnaby North at number 6. They did drop 3 spots. They had a tough loss to Point Grey, but North overall had some great scores throughout the week. It's just, the Vikings got jumped by a few other teams. We'll see if they can bounce back.
Next we have Point Grey. They had a very strong weekend at Valhalla, as we said, so they moved up a few spots. They ended up losing their game to Churchill, but that's a blip in an otherwise very strong and building season.
Guildford Pork stays at number 4. There's really not much to say about them. They just keep winning. And so we haven't really seen too much crossover, which is why they haven't jumped more than the top 4. So we're excited to see what they do in playoffs.
Now the biggest jump in our power rankings is Churchill. They move up 8 spots after just a little bit of a slow start with their squad. Maybe going to spring rain and going into a lot of tournaments has really helped their team build in their chemistry, but they had a really strong showing at Valhalla, and their win over Point Grey in league play, they are boosted up 8 spots to number 3.
Now these last 2 spots are the same as our power rankings before. At number 2 we have Sutherland. Despite finishing 3rd at Valhalla, they did go undefeated on day 1. They beat Burnaby North to get their bronze medal finish, and they're still undefeated in their North Shore League play, so can't justify boosting them down just yet.
Boosting them down. Now, no surprise to you all, Eric, HAMBER, the Evil Empire, holds onto that number 1 spot, but they are showing some vulnerabilities in their armor. What? What? Did I say that already?
Yeah. No, you didn't. I'm just laughing because they're just winning everything, but we're just trying to
So that is your top 16 in the senior division. So for our junior power rankings, we're going to go through it a little bit faster. We have Mosscrop coming in at the number 16 spot. A lot of their players played up in senior, and they've been playing well in league play, losing to Burnaby North only by 1, so they solidified the 16th spot. In 15, we have Seacom. In 14, we have Van Tech. In 13, we have Guildford Park with a 4th place finish at Pulver Parkinson's. They didn't play at Valhalla. In 13th, we have MACNEILL. They're 4-2 on this season so far. And then we have JO.
All right, at number 10, we have STM, 3rd place finish at Pulver Parkinson's, 10th place at Valhalla. Number 9, we have Queen Elizabeth, 2nd place finish at Pulver Parkinson's, and 11th place at Valhalla, little switcheroo. And number 8, we had Semiamu, a great finish, 5th place at Pulver Parkinson's, 9th place at Valhalla.
Coming in at number 7, we have Churchill. They had an 8th place finish at Valhalla. They're 4-2 in league play with losses to Eric Hamber and PG. Then we have Sutherland at number 6, 7th place at Valhalla, lost by 2 to PG in a close game in consolation semis. And Point Grey coming in at number 5 with a 6th place finish at Valhalla and strong league play.
At number 4, we have Burnley North. They won Pulls for Parkinson's, which is amazing. At number 3, we have Stratford Hall. They're getting all their star grade 10s back because their senior team folded, so Ryan and Kira are back on that team and they're looking really strong. At number 2, we have Templeton. They've made the final in 2 tournaments. Both losses came to HAMBER, so they're the clear number 2. And number 1, Evil Empire Jr., Eric Hamber, number 1.
So there you have it, folks. Really amazing work this last weekend at Valhalla. Continue crushing your league games. Exciting playoff stuff happening. Keep us in the loop. Keep tagging us. Keep sharing our content. We love covering your Ultimate games, so keep us in the loop. And we hope that your high school Ultimate games are
elevated.